immunize.org.
You've got the school supplies. Don't forget to immunize.
At the KSMO studios, we are sitting down today for the first timer, Mr. Carlos Lopez. He is here from the Denton County Prevention Coalition. And Carlos, first off, good to have you, my friend. The Prevention Coalition has been around, and they do a lot of great things in the schools. They do a lot of things out of the schools. They help with kids. They look for different things to work to keep those youngsters from learning, we'll just say, bad habits. And of course, and they get a lot of those bad habits from their peers, but they get some of those bad habits also parents sometimes. Sure. And I don't mean they intentionally do anything bad, but it's just that, well, mom and dad do it, if you're smoking or whatever. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about some of the programs that the Denton County Prevention Coalition do. Well, first off, you might want to introduce yourself. You've been dealing with young kids for a long time, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Excuse me. Wow.
Get rid of those jitters, right?
So, since I've been 19 years old, man, I've been highly involved in various different youth ministries within the church, and even leading into my adulthood. I probably spent maybe 5 years of my life, of my adult life, not dealing with young people, when I, work for MoDOT or what have you. But, the large portion of my adult life, man, I've been working with young people, working with students, and it's just, I feel like something that God's put in my heart, and one of the gifts He's given me. So try to utilize that.
And kids are so influential on you, and you are influential on them. It's a give and take,
absolutely,
isn't it?
100%, man. So you often hear like the students are the leaders of the future. Well, that's absolutely 100% true. But students are the leaders today. And I think that'd be a pretty good segue to lead into our youth-led coalition that we have implemented at the high school last year, even, and it's incredible. These students have advocated for policy change in our community. They played an important role in advocating for the smoke-free policy that we have at all the citywide buildings and facilities and City of Salem parks and recreational sites and facilities. And that policy was implemented last year, last school year. So it was in 24, but it was implemented last school year, and it's people are learning, and I think we've recently got the signs up finally, the no smoking signs. So but they played a big role in that, and they're leading in our community right now as students, as high school students. So. And
you're mentioning these high school students and the kids that are involved. We also want to make mention that all of our schools are on board with this, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're not just saying that these students are coming out of this school, that school, and this school just independently to come together. The coalition works closely with the schools.
Yes, sir.
In all the schools. We're not just talking about R80. We're talking about R1, R2, R3, R4, to try and get the word out and try and give a message, a very positive message about staying drug-free and alcohol-free.
Oh yeah, man. I'm very thankful for our schools, and I honestly, I believe that we've been very blessed and lucky to have the relationship that we have with the schools. And we're able to get in every school in Denton County from R1 to R80, and we have programs that we try to implement within the schools, and they've been great. They've been great to work with. Again, I consider our organization very lucky to be able to work so closely with these schools. And my point of contact is generally the counselors, and they're great. They're incredible. I always say that there's nobody busier in the school than the school counselors, especially in middle school.
Oh yeah.
But they're phenomenal, and they do a great job, and we're really lucky and blessed to be able to have the relationship that we have with the schools that we have.
Now you're talking about the student coalition. That's it's like an offshoot of the Denton County Prevention Coalition. I say offshoot. It's just like a sub chapter of it. But you also help the Denton County Prevention Coalition works closely with Prevention Coalitions out of Rolla with Jamie Myers,
Yeah.
but they
Yes,
also
sir.
work closely with our Denton County Health Center as well as the schools. This is a collaborative effort, isn't
Yes,
it?
sir. Absolutely. Yes, sir. So with Prevention Consultants of Missouri, with Jamie Myers there in Rolla, they actually provide us, our students, with training. And out of our student-led coalition, we have students who teach Teens Teach Prevention
Okay.
curriculum. Last school year, they taught a vaping prevention and wellness program or curriculum, as well as a alcohol prevention and wellness curriculum. And we went to Rolla. We took them for a day and trained them all day, and to teach this curriculum. And then we take those students who went through this training, and then we take them to the middle schools at R1, all the way through R80, from R1 to R80, and we really try to get them to be able to have that peer to peer development, and give them an opportunity to speak to their peers, and that gives the middle schoolers an opportunity, one, to meet high schoolers, because they're all coming from different schools,
Sure.
and then when they get into ninth grade, they all meet at R80, and so it gives them an opportunity to, one, kind of set eyes on some of these high school students, kind of get a feel for it, ask questions, but again, it's another opportunity for our high school students to pour into the middle school students and be able to try to help them understand that you can go without these substance uses, and peer pressure is a thing, but we all have to deal with peer pressure, but you can say no.
Right. And a lot of these kids that are doing this are athletes, cheerleaders,
Yes.
some of the scholars at school, that a lot of these middle schoolers, that we're going to call it, or even upper elementary school kids, they all look up to. They kind of, I don't want to say worship them, but
Right,
they kind of put them on a pedestal.
Yeah, sure.
And what they see them do is what they're going to follow.
Yeah, they're going to want to do that.
And if this is cool for them to teach kids about not vaping and not smoking and,
Right.
and not doing drugs and not drinking, hey, that's a good start.
Yeah, so it's great. It's It's an incredible program, and it's almost like a double-edged sword. One, our high schoolers get an opportunity to teach the curriculum. While they're teaching the curriculum, it's coming in. I always say one of the best ways to learn is to teach, and so while they're teaching this curriculum, they're learning, they're retaining this information, and whether they know it or not, they're applying it to their lives, and so that's one thing. And then the second thing is these middle school students, they get to see these high school students, and it's funny that you said about the leaders in the school, because when they introduce themselves to these middle schoolers, they name about 5 or 6 or more programs that they're in at the high school. Student council, various different leadership roles that they have at the school, and they laugh about it every time when they're listing off all these things that they're doing, and they're busy, man. These students are absolutely 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, leading not only in their high school but also in our communities.
But to be involved is the key, and we have seen some great things from our high school students. Carlos, I want to refer back to a town hall meeting that was at Community Center at the Armory.
Yes, sir.
We've done that a couple years now, where you get the students to come up and actually answer some questions that people might
Yes,
have,
sir.
but also they tell their story. They
Yeah.
kind of tell this is why they got involved. This is where we a lot of times you hear so much bad about the youth, but you've got a lot of great kids out there that are really concerned about our future, and they want to do what they can to help guide that future in a better direction.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. During the town hall meeting, we had some of our student-led coalition members serving as a panel to be asked questions about how substance use or vaping particularly has affected their lives in high school, at home, or just within their life setting. And it was, and I don't want to whatever, but there was a young girl there, is probably 5th or 6th grade, and I think it was maybe it was her grandma who brought her, maybe it was an aunt or something. I don't really know, but they thought it was important enough to bring this young lady. And I really thought, man, this is great, because this young girl, she gets to see these older girl students who, again, are involved in their school, and are abstaining from substance use, and living a life that's healthy and beneficial. I just thought it was awesome that she was able to see them girls and think, maybe, hey, maybe that's something, maybe I could do that too. I want to be like that. I want to be like them girls who are up there living their lives and not making bad decisions and so on and so forth. But that was a pretty cool point. But to talk a little bit more about the town hall meeting, that was a good example of why we do it. But it's also great for our community to know what the students are going through.
Sure.
What they deal with at the high school, what they deal with every day. And again, I'm not trying to shine a negative light on the high school or whatever. They do a great job. They work hard. They work with us, in prevention. But it's just the way it is. It's the world we live in today, Stan. And these are things that these students have to deal with every day, whether it's at school, whether it's at home, whether it's at the movie theaters, or whatever it is that they do. It's in their face. It's everywhere. And if we could provide them with the essential tools to help them to abstain, or to be able to say no, or to feel like, I'm better than that, or I don't have to do that to be successful. I don't have to vape to fit in. I don't have to, do these things in order to create a friend group. But it's very positive for our community to know what our students go through every day. And that, I think that's one of the major benefits to having that town hall meeting, is to get a look into the life of some of these students.
It really is a great snapshot of what's actually happening with these kids and how they react to it. And there'll be another one next year, so I hope people look forward to attending that. And of course, we'll be announcing that on KSMO when that is held. But it is a fantastic response, I think, to, and I say this because I know I'm getting older, and as I look, it is true. and as I look to the kids, I sometimes I don't see the commitment that maybe I used to see 20 years ago with some of the kids. But it may be there, and I just can't see it because it's different.
Right.
Okay, and I think this is a great way for people who are a little bit older, attend a town hall meeting, and before you make that generic judgment on all teenagers, which I know we all tend to do. All kids are bad, or all these people are bad, and then you go out and you watch the 4-H and the FFA, and you see some of these talented kids, and some of these kids that are committed to their animals, and then you're just wondering, we've got some really great kids. Yeah. So, one other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about when people start thinking Prevention Coalition, we've been talking pretty much just about high school, but you guys get started a little bit earlier than that.
We do.
Back into I know, I can't tell you how early you guys start, because you can tell me that, but there was a program, was it Too Good for Drugs?
Yes, sir. That's it. Too Good for Drugs.
All right. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that program and who you're addressing with that program?
Yes, sir. Sure thing. So a couple of years ago, when we started doing the Too Good for Drugs program, we were doing this program for students' grades 6th through 9th grade. And we felt like we were doing a good job, felt like we were reaching these students, and they were, receptive to the information that we were providing them. But, after very careful consideration and consultations from prevention specialists like Prevention Consultants of Missouri with Jamie Myers, also communicating with our 12 sector representatives who make up our coalition.
And you guys do attend numerous conferences through the years to get updated on what is working and what's not working.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I would love to talk more about that here after a while.
But there's a lot of input.
Yeah, a lot of input and a lot of thought and a lot of work that goes into some of these decisions that we're making as a coalition. But, we decided we probably need to grab these students a little younger before they start making some of these decisions. And, when you hear the Too Good for Drugs program, the first thing you might think of is what we're doing is we're teaching these kids about drugs. Well, yes and no. More no than yes. So what we're doing is with the Too Good for Drugs, the first week, man, we talk about making good decisions. We talk about peer pressure. We talk about managing your emotions. We talk about setting goals for your life. We go through all these things. This is the first week, of the program, and it's a 2-week program. We spend between 45 to 55 minutes per grade, per class, per school. And it's a 10-hour program. So generally it goes for 2 weeks. That's the way we like to calendar it.
Okay.
But so for the first week, those are the things that we talk about.
All positive.
All
stuff.
positive things. Things that we could implement as adults and probably live a healthier life, So those are things that we talk about for the first week. And the second week, then we start talking about, the effects THC has on your developing brain as a student. And to be honest with you, man, some of these students are pretty sharp. They know that the brain develops till mid 20s, 25, and there's been some studies that say a little closer to 30 as well, specifically for females. It's what I've heard. I haven't looked at it. It makes a lot of sense. Girls tend to be a little bit smarter than us guys. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We won't talk about that. But so anyway, but the second week, that's what we talk. We talk about the harmful effects that it has on your body, and we talk about the harmful effects of nicotine and how the addictive properties in nicotine, and then we also talk about the harmful effects of alcohol. So nicotine and tobacco, alcohol, THC, and then opioids. And that's a big thing. That's another issue that we're dealing with. With not only with our students, but also with our adults.
Yeah.
So and we could talk on that a little bit more later on. But this Too Good for Drugs program, it's incredible, and we're doing grades 4 through 6. We feel like we're reaching them a little earlier. We're teaching these students how to make good decisions, and in hopes that they apply these things to their lives, and when they go into middle school, they're a little bit more equipped to be able to manage peer pressure and manage their emotions, to where they don't feel like, well, I need an escape, I need a vape, or I need an escape, I need to take these opioids.
Sure.
And so that's what to me the most important part of the Too Good for Drugs program is that first week, and the second week is just information, and so we try to give them the information so that they can make a good decision. To live healthier lives, that don't consist of addiction, So that's the Too Good for Drugs program, and we're really excited about that. And we feel like over the last couple of years, man, we've done a good job. And I think one of the hardest things to do as a professional is to pat yourself on the back.
Right.
and to say, what a great job you're doing. You want to be humble. In my opinion, I feel like I want to be humble, but at the same time, I want to. Are you familiar? You're familiar with the Missouri Student Survey? I know you're.
No, and I want you to get to that, because you just don't sit there because you went and did it yourself and say, I think we did great. There are surveys taken that actually do
data.
show the results of the Too Good for Drugs program.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And we'll get into that. So the Missouri Student Survey is taken every 2 years, and it's taken by students of grades 6th through 12th grade. And you can access this at the dmh.mo.gov. Or you could just type in Missouri Student Survey 2024, and it'll take you through it.
It'll get you there.
Yeah. But the numbers don't lie. And these numbers are coming straight from the students. The students know when they're taking these surveys,
And they're anonymous in taking these surveys.
They're anonymous.
Nobody,
they can answer.
There's no pressure on them to answer because there's no name to it.
Absolutely. So there's no reason to lie, and so with the information that we've given, let me give you an example here for past 30-day use for tobacco, cigarettes, or chew. In 2022, the numbers are 7.9. And over the last 2 years, when we've been implementing the Too Good for Drugs program, the Teens Teach prevention, and all these things that we're doing as a prevention coalition, the numbers are down to 4.1, from 7.9 in 22 to 4.1 in 24. And then
that's very good, but I can read it in your face. It's still not good enough.
It's not. It's not. There's still work to be done. It really we'll know how good of a job we're doing 10 years. When these students
Sure.
are graduating high school or graduating college and they're living drug-free lives.
And then they start having their children and see how they educate their children.
Right. And you always hear about the vicious circle, but this is a positive circle, of positive decision making, goal setting, so on and so forth. So that was with tobacco, specifically
Sure.
cigarettes and chew. So now we'll move into electronic cigarettes or those vapes. In 22, the number was up 20% in 22, and in 2024, the students say that there's 7.9% have used these vapes or e-cigarettes in the past 30 days. So that's a big jump. That's a big jump. In our action plan, when we wrote our action plan for our grant, the goal was 1 or 2%. Well, we far exceeded that. This is way more than 1 or 2%. I'm not going to do the math because we're on live radio. But I mean, from 20% to 7.9%, or 20%
basically
to 8%,
13.5%,
12%. Yeah, if you want to round that 7.9 to 8, it's 12%. That's a big jump in 2 years. And I probably I won't be satisfied until that number says 0. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but
I doubt it'll ever happen. But if you can get to 1 or 2%, boy, that would be a major
that would be
accomplishment.
That would be incredible. Not just for these students as individuals, man, but if they're making good decisions as students and as young adults, and then as adults, how much better would that be for our community when they're leading in our community?
Sure.
as office holders at the courthouse, or like state representatives or governor, who knows? I mean, when you make good decisions as a child and you see the ramifications or the benefits of making these positive decisions and setting these positive goals and succeeding at these goals, and you feel that, and those endorphins release in your mind and your brain, that makes you want to continue making these good decisions, and just how much impact that will have on them as adults, and then how that will affect our community. So so e-cigarettes, again, that's in 22, that's 20%, and in 24 it's 7.9, 8%. That's a big jump. Now alcohol. So in alcohol for the past 30-day use, in 22 it was 13.9, and in 24 it's at 5.3. That's another
huge.
big jump.
Yeah, big jump.
Big jump. Used marijuana in the past 30 days was at 6.4, and then now in 24 it's 2.7. That's the number 6.4 wasn't quite as big as 20% or 13.9%, but still going from 6.4 to 2.7, that's huge.
Yes.
And I was sitting in our CIT meeting, our crisis intervention team meeting yesterday at the Armory. And I had the opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about what we were doing with our coalition, and I had the opportunity to kind of read off some of these numbers. And our CIT meeting members, they were genuinely impressed. They would assume that marijuana number would go up,
Especially now that it's legal.
Right. Because when it's legal, they see it more often, and so that perception of use that number would probably go, that could change. But anyway, the numbers are dropping. And then for the prescribed drugs, or the opioids, was at 1.3, and now it's at 0.8. I mean, just great numbers. These are good numbers.
And I think a lot of this, and Carlos, I think you explained it very well, excuse me, is the positive side of the too good for drugs before you start to say, okay, now, guys, these things will do some damage to you. They'll mess up, before you even get into the effects of what drugs, alcohol, cigarettes can do to your brain. You get it, you don't need it.
Right.
That's been 5 days of that, and then you say, now, if you use it, this could happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, and Carlos, you know as well as I do, and you attend a lot of conferences, damage to your brain is irreversible.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
Once you go in there and incorporate smoke, drugs, drink, whatever it might be, in some cases, that child is no longer going to be that child that you remember from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And when they get to be 14, 15, 16, suddenly their brain has, I won't say been manipulated by drugs, but
It has.
it possibly could have been.
It has. Yeah, it has been.
And
yeah.
so the clarity of their thinking becomes disruptive.
Yeah, it usually sets them back. If they start using at the age of 13, it usually sets them back a couple of years. So when they're 15 and 16 years old, their mindset could still potentially be as a 13-year-old.
Yeah. And then what I love about this program is, okay, you and Jason are out there doing this program, and then you have the high school kids come and do your teens teach. Mm-hmm. That follows up.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's always this education, a reminder to lead try and lead a drug-free, alcohol-free life. Okay, sooner or later somebody may have a drink, may puff a little bit. You don't know what they're going to do. You don't want them to.
Right.
But
right.
Everybody has a free will to do as they wish. Yeah. But if you get them on that solid foundation of not relying on that.
That's exactly right.
That's the key, isn't it?
Absolutely, 100%.
Every time there's something bad happen, I got to go have a cigarette, or got to go have a joint, or I've got to go have a drink. No, just why don't you go talk to somebody?
Yeah, that's exactly right. A lot of times these substance use is tagged from an emotional response. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it's important that we learn how to manage our emotions, which is one day we for 1 hour we handle that. We go in that with the Too Good for Drugs program, and with all the conferences, with the CATCA conferences and all the training and all the webinars and all the information that I've undergone and have gone through over the last 2 years, there's a link between substance use and mental health. And you heard that term, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, I don't know. Somebody knows, I'm sure. But, the same thing is with substance use and mental health. Which comes first, mental health or substance use? Is mental health issues inducive to substance use, or substance use inducive to mental health? And I think it goes both ways. Yeah. I think oftentimes the mental health is real, and so sometimes when we're struggling with our mental health, sometimes we feel like we have to intake or ingest these substances so that we can manage those emotions, so we can manage that emotional part of our existence. But with the Too Good for Drugs program and the Teen Teach Prevention program and all the other programs that we're implementing in our community, we're trying to help students understand that there's other ways that you can deal with your mental health issues, or there's other ways that you can deal with your emotions, because as a middle schooler or as a high schooler, emotions are a big part of your life.
Oh gosh, yes.
I'm sure you could remember, because it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, well, it was, but I do remember. You go to school, and I mean, it could be an ultimate high, and you can have the ultimate low all in the same day.
The same hour.
And things haven't changed. There's still bullying going on.
Right.
There's still pressure going on. There's still people trying to intimidate you. That can all still happen. But one of the things but to cave into that and try and escape that, Carlos, which is what you guys are trying to have these kids avoid, by doing something artificial.
Yeah.
Smoking, drinking. You get high. Hey, now I'm 10 feet tall and bulletproof because I'm high. You're going to come down sooner or later. And then what happens? Then are you the meek and mild person that you really are?
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Opioids, might relieve the pain, but it's gonna come back, guys.
Right.
It's not a permanent.
It's not an end all be all.
Yeah, and then the thing is, though, by overdoing it, it can become permanent in a way that you may not be around anymore.
Right. And the addictive properties in these substance use, the term getting high, what's happening in your body and in your brain is there's endorphins being released.
Right.
And so now you become addicted to the release of those endorphins, because that's what's making you feel good. That's what's making you feel confident and comfortable. And
But
so
it takes more to get you there.
that's right. Yeah, you do it one time, it's going to take you more the next time, and then so on and so forth. And before you know it, you're
You're
addicted.
full-blown.
Full
Yep.
blown, 100%.
Yeah. And, and I know you guys don't talk about, well, I don't really know if you talk about it or not, but anybody who is an addict and have ever seen somebody try and break that addiction, that is a horrible thing to watch.
It's tough. That would be a great conversation to have with some of them guys over at KSMO, because they deal with that. That I think they're working hard, because substance abuse is a thing, and it's a real thing in our community. And with prevention and the guys over at KSMO, they're trying really hard to help these people come off their addictions, and it's not easy. It's easier to never use than it is to use and stop using. So if we could remember that, keep that in mind, that might help us make some good
and this was brought out at one of the Prevention Coalition meetings, which, by the way, there's one tomorrow that you'll be attending, and,
That's right.
and I will be there as well. It only takes one time for you to try something that can actually get you addicted.
That's right.
So everybody thinks that, it's just continual use. Well, not necessarily, and I think opioids is probably one of the worst ones, because it seems like somebody takes their first opioid, and that one time they take it, they like the way it feels, and then they, sometimes doctors give them 10 of them to take.
Right.
That 10 is gone in no time because it has relieved their pain or whatever it's done, but then the next thing you know, now they're craving the opioid, and it only took maybe 1 or 2 tablets, and now they're an addict, and they really don't want to get off it, and it just gets worse and worse. And we hope that never happens to anybody.
Right.
It's not meant to happen that way, but I'm not going to say it won't happen that way, and it can. One of the neat things about the Prevention Coalition is there's great conversation, and you have so many different people. We talk about Dent County Health Department help coming in. We've got to talk about your guys' input from the schools.
Right.
The schools are there, and they represent it, and they throw some input out there. You also have Jamie there from over in Phelps County. You have other people who are there from other parts of our community that interject information from churches as well. Guys, it's a community effort. What Carlos and them are doing, it's not just to help out the kids at school, it's to help out our community in the long run and in the years to come. We want our community to be as healthy and as prosperous as they can be without addiction.
Right. That's exactly right. You couldn't say it any better myself. It is absolutely 100%.
Well, of course not. You're in trouble.
But I mean, seriously, it's it takes a village, and our village is really great. Dent County is packed full of people who genuinely care, and they genuinely care about not just our community, but the people in our community and the young people in our community. The support from our schools is vast. They really appreciate and understand the work that we do, and they're on board. We have 3 or 4 school superintendents be a part of our prevention coalition. And just the buy-in's unreal. That it's a real thing. It takes a community. It takes a group effort to make this possible. It's in no means these numbers are awesome. And I think it's important that we pat ourselves on the back, but not me personally. Our coalition, our sector representatives, our schools, our counselors, our principals, our superintendents. It takes everybody. It takes all these people working together collaboratively to make this success, to make this happen.
But also takes the kids.
Absolutely,
first and foremost,
100%,
it takes the kids. You can give them all the information in the world, and you can really try and lead them down the right path. But ultimately, Carlos, it's a yes or no decision that they have to make. And like you said, that first week to make good decisions it's sinking in.
Right. Absolutely.
And obviously, to get those kind of numbers, they're making the good decisions.
Yeah, they're the most important part of this whole thing.
Absolutely.
These students. So
Absolutely. Let's talk. We've been talking about a lot of students, a lot of different things going on there. This past Saturday, we had two back to school bashes.
Yes,
one,
sir.
the kind of controlled one over at the Armory, and the other one that was over at the Courthouse Square, which was more of a community-wide back to school bash. You want to kind of update us a little bit?
Yeah, I would love to. So some of the numbers here, and these are approximate numbers for the back to school fair that we had over at the Armory at the event center. Was, I believe it was just under 400 students. I think the number was 384. Don't hold me to that, but just approximately 400 students, and we're always going to jump that number up. But at the back to school bash there at the courthouse, there was approximately 500 students, it's kind of like herding cats. I think they're getting their numbers from the tickets that they were getting out, but to be honest with you, we had a booth there. We had a booth at the fair and at the bash. It was a long day, but it was so much fun. It was so much fun. We had a booth there at the Armory, and we had about $3,000, almost $4,000 worth of giveaways, just from us. We gave away a boys' bike and a girls' bike. We gave away a trampoline at the fair, and we did those same giveaways at the bash at the courthouse. And then we gave away, I believe we had $25 Walmart gift cards to help supplement the school supply situation for the students, or candy.
Or
but,
shoes.
Or shoes.
We never know what they're going to need.
That's
I mean,
right. These parents know what their kids need, and they do a great job. And then we left there, and we hightailed it over to the courthouse, got our booth set up. It was hot. It was hot, but it was breezy. We had a canopy, so that helped a lot. I think Hukin was there, and I think he may have got a little too hot, got a little sick. But it's a good cause. It's a good cause. These students, these families need help, and that's one way that we could help. But yeah, we were there, and we let them spin a wheel, and we try to give out these informational brochures about the dangers of vaping, dangers of alcohol use, dangers of opioid abuse, just all this different kind of information. We try to give them out. It was pretty tough at the courthouse because when it got breezy, our banners were falling over.
I was gonna say, they start blowing away, and
too many times to count. I was out in front of our booth picking cards that we're trying to hand out.
It happens.
But it was an opportunity for us to get another opportunity for us to get information out, and we want to utilize that.
It's very important that people understand that yes, you're going to schools, and yes, we have students teaching kids, and yes, you're getting information nationwide, but you guys are also members of our community that want to see our community stay healthy, and you guys put out extra time. You had a booth there at the back to school bash. You guys will be having a booth at the girls' night out for adults who want our parents who want to pick up some information. Maybe their child's not bringing that information home.
Right.
You're not seeing it. And then you want to know what you guys are actually doing at the perfect time to ask questions and get the answers as to what the Denton County Prevention Coalition is doing with these children and how they're affecting our community. And Carlos would love to talk to you about these numbers, especially.
I got new cards that I'd like to give you, too.
There you go.
So our next activity is going to be the Girls' Night Out, September 12th at the Armory. We'll have a booth set up. Come see us. See us. We'll give you some information. Maybe let you spin the wheel. Who knows? But we'd definitely be there. We'd love to have conversations with you. We'd love to meet you, shake your hand, let you know what we're doing, and get even more buy-in from our communities.
Right. Now, also, I'm going to put this out there. I haven't talked to you about this before, but if there's a group out there would love to have the Prevention Coalition.
Oh, yeah.
Local, you guys, you and Jason.
Churches.
Whatever. Yeah. Yes,
sir.
Feel free to call 729-8163. Talk with Carlos or Jason, and they can set it up to where they'll be more than happy to come out there and present some of this very same information.
Yes, sir.
Because we know it's, there's youngsters all over the place that are more receptive in one location than another. They may not be as likely to get it at school if they feel pressure. So, there's bullies at school. We all know that.
Right.
And maybe they get a little bit hesitant at school, so they don't do it. But at their church setting, amongst other friends, different people than what they have at school, they might be more receptive to listening to the message that comes out. I'm just offering that, and I maybe shouldn't be, but I know that you would do it in a heartbeat, and I know Jason would do it in a heartbeat to help out anybody in any organization if you want to find out more. Even if you have a club that you would like to have them make a presentation to and say, hey, do you guys really know what all the problem is that has been growing and growing? Not necessarily in our community, but in the area, and it can always infiltrate our community. We all know that. I mean, look at, I remember when virtually heroin was almost eliminated. Next thing you know, it returned with a vengeance. And that is not something you want to play with. I mean, why would anybody even do it? In my head, why would anybody even want to try this? But I can't speak for everybody. I don't know what the pressure those people are under.
Right.
Why did they do it? I don't know. Or were they weak for one moment, and then you put that needle in your arm, and the next thing you know, you're addicted.
Right.
I don't want to say that I know the answers to that or why somebody did it, because I don't.
Yeah, it's hard to say. In all the meetings that I go to, like our CIT, and then our there's a meeting that we meet with Compass Health and Angie Barton, and it's kind of like our CIT but for students. And a lot of the schools, I think maybe all the schools are represented there, and they because these students that are having issues with home life and substance use in the homes, well, they go back and forth between schools.
Sure.
And it's just the amount of help and resources that are out there for people it's phenomenal, And one thing was said that you don't really want to judge a student. One of the parents there was telling us that they made sure that they told their kid, don't judge this kid. Don't be mean or whatever, because you don't know what their home life is like. Does that make any sense?
Right.
You just never know. You never know what's going on in the home. And so just to if you treat everybody with respect and kindness and treat everybody how you'd want to be treated, that'll help.
The old golden rule is still in effect.
That's right.
Everybody out there that I know that's walked around as a human being.
That's right.
And they should be treated as a human being. They should not be looked down upon. They should not be scoffed. It's because they're not exactly the same as I am, then they're bad. I mean, really, people sometimes actually have that view, and you're thinking how narrow that truly is. I mean, you have different kinds of dogs out there. You don't take, I don't like that dog because, he's got curly hair, versus this one that loses its hair or has no hair,
Right.
But they're a dog. They're an animal. They're different. And there's differences in all of us. So, and you just don't know what that internal makeup is either. And the pressures at home, you just don't know. Sometimes there's financial pressures.
Yeah.
Sometimes there might be marriage pressures between mom and dad, and we all see it happen. And unfortunately, I hope that never happens, but sometimes the child gets put in the middle.
Yes.
And I can imagine, I never had to go through that, but I can imagine you'd kind of feel like a ping pong ball. You get pulled here, you get pulled here, you get pulled here, and so that can have an effect on the child as well.
Absolutely. And talk about the emotional responses to things.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. With our prevention coalition, we can't change that dynamic. That's not something you guys can change. You can't go into the home and change that. But if you're offering it, if the child can go talk to somebody. There's counselors out there. There's numbers out there. They can talk to you guys.
Yeah.
They can just call and say, hey, can I bend your ear for a few minutes?
You bet.
And
absolutely.
you guys are more than happy to do it. Now, one thing I wanted to bring out that just happened not too long ago, Governor Parson made an executive order. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have seen these in many locations. It's not just here in Denton County. It's all over the state of Missouri. To where you see some packaging on some products that aren't what they look like they are. Okay,
That's right. Yeah,
that we'll kind of call it disguised packaging.
it's a problem. Yeah,
It is a problem because a Coke can is not necessarily a Coke can. It's a spiked Coke can.
that's right.
Or this gummy is not necessarily candy. It's a cannabis product.
It absolutely. Yeah. So it's Governor Parsons Executive Order 2410, and it's I'll just read it here for you.
Sure.
I have my
The whole thing?
paperwork. No.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, let me find it. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
Prohibiting sale of unregulated psychoactive cannabis products in Missouri. And I printed off a bunch of papers. I know these pictures are going to be great for radio. But
Yeah.
so here I'll just let you have a
Yeah,
couple
I
two or
saw
three
them.
of them. Yeah, you saw these. Right?
Yeah, I did.
So there's not even a name change. So the popular candy Mike and Ike's Original Fruit, they're packaged almost exactly the same. The name, the word, the verbiage, everything's the same except they have a little bitty piece that looks like it could be maybe 2 square inches of surface area on these packages that says Delta 8 THC.
Right.
And it's dangerously close to marketing for kids,
Well, like the one I have that Carlos gave me is Airheads, and it's orange flavored Airheads, and it's in it more of a bar than the other Airheads, which is more of a bag, and it has on there contains THC,
Right.
but it's very small.
Very, very small.
Now, and it looks and the printing, everything on there looks the same, except there's a slight difference because they can't infringe on the trademark, Airheads,
Right.
or the registered name of Airheads. So it's still Airheads, but it's a little different, just a little. That's all they have to do is make it a little different, put the orange in a different place, and that's all
Right.
they have to do.
Yeah, another example are our Lifesaver gummies. They look exactly the same. And you know what? When I get to the office, we'll post these to our website.
Yeah,
And our Facebook page. That way people can see and know and understand what we're talking about here.
So what is your Facebook page that people can go to for?
Healthy Dent County Prevention Coalition.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good.
So, and we also have a website. I think it's oh God.
You don't go to. You just add. You just
Yeah,
pull it in, right?
Lacey knows. She's our admin on those things. She does a great job. But the biggest danger, in my opinion, is a couple of things. One, it comes across as marketing to young people,
Mm-hmm.
And if these are just shelved like normal candies, which they shouldn't be, and in fact, after this order goes through, I don't think it'd be possible at all for it even to be packaged or
There's
THC
some
to
pretty
be put
stiff
in the food.
penalties, from my understanding.
They could lose their liquor license.
Right.
These gas stations could lose their liquor license and so forth, which I think that's one of their biggest money makers there. But another danger is let's say an adult legally goes into a regulated vendor.
Mm-hmm.
They purchase these, let's purchase these Lifesavers, for example, that contain
look
THC
identical.
Delta 8. They look exactly identical almost. They purchase this. They buy a couple of 2 or 3 bags to last them the week, month, whatever. I'm unsure. And they put them in the cabinet. And then one of the examples I think that you have there is there's a little sticky note that says, had to leave early, make your own lunch, pack your own lunch for school. A kid can go in there, a student can go in there, pack their own lunch, like, man, I want to have some candy. If I'm making my lunch, I'm going to make it good,
Throw a few Lifesavers in
So
there,
let me throw a package of Lifesavers in there. Though the badging's on there, you think they're going to look at that badging? No, they're going to look at the Lifesaver and like, oh, these are Lifesaver gummies. Cool, I'm going to grab these, throw them on my bag. By the end of the day, they've consumed this entire bag of THC gummies. You can overdose on THC.
Sure.
And you could be sick and make you sick, and it's just not fair. It's not fair that a student could potentially have to go through this because of the way it's packaged.
Yeah.
It's not clear. Even though it says it on the package, if I'm a 13 or 14 or 15-year-old kid or even younger, I'm going to reach in there, see the lifesavers, grab it. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to look on the back and look at the nutrition facts of it either. I'm just going to grab it, throw it on my bag, and I'm going to eat it like they're lifesavers.
And what's to say a parent didn't grab the wrong bag when they picked it up?
That's true. That's another thing.
And
right.
don't really don't understand it. Now, one of the things that also goes with this, these I'm going to say knockoffs, is that the THC levels are inconsistent.
Right.
They are not measured consistently in those artificial candies, gummies, whatever it might be. So you can have them spike anywhere from a very low percentage to way too high.
Yeah. When you're making chocolate chip cookies, you can't determine exactly how many chocolate chip cookies, how many chocolate chips are in each cookie.
Yeah.
You can't determine that. And that's kind of what they're doing. Also, that website, ladies and gentlemen out there who are listening, is salemcommunitycenter.org/prevention.
There you go. salemcommunitycenter.org/prevention.
That's
very
right.
good. So, and then of course we're just talking basically here candies, but there's also beverages that are knockoffs.
Jason and I, we've mentioned Jason a few times. Let me introduce Jason to the world here. Jason is our Stop At grant coordinator. So we have recently got a Stop At grant for underage drinking prevention. And he's the newest member to our prevention community in Salem, and he's just incredible. He worked at Progressive Ozark Bank for years, and I got to tell you, just a great addition to the team. He's super sharp. He's just great. He's great for the program, and he goes with me to teach these Too Good for Drugs program. They always ask if he's off on Fridays.
Yeah.
If I'm in the school, they're like, "Where's the big guy?"
Yeah.
He's 7 foot.
Jason's tall.
Yeah, he's 7 foot forever, and he's very noticeable. And the students love him, man. He's a great addition to the team, and not just for the prevention world, but just he's smart.
Yes.
He's a great addition to the team.
And he's concerned.
Yeah, and he's not going to be able to get out of the office.
Too.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to get out of the office today because his head's going to be so big. But anyway, I wanted to make mention of that and then introduce Jason. If you guys haven't known him, stop by the office. We'd love to chat with you, introduce you to Jason, and So, but now that I said all that, I forgot the question that you asked.
I was talking about the beverages that are in the knockoff cans.
Yes.
That one looks like maybe lemonade, and the other one is a spiked lemonade.
Yeah.
And they look identical.
Yeah, and Jason and I are gonna do an activity. We're gonna go to the vendors, and we're just gonna look. We're not police officers.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're not here to hold you accountable.
Right.
But we just want to go for information, for data. We would like to see where it's shelved. We'd like to see, what's all out there, just for the sake of data, so we'll know so we'll know what
you're fighting.
Yeah, what we're finding. Exactly right.
Yeah.
And speaking of these vendors, Jason actually coordinated a vendor training, and we had a couple of 2 or 3 vendors show up and go through this training. We would love to see that room packed full of vendors trying to get the appropriate training to do their part in prevention.
I don't think a lot of vendors know this is even exists.
I think you're right. And I don't know if this has made it to the grand world of Dent County, but
it has.
It has it. Okay,
it
yeah.
has.
So we would just really like to get that information, and I think once we do our little tour of Dent County vendors and just kind of see what's going on, and again, I'm not saying that like we're gonna go make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's not what we're here.
Gestapo.
Yeah, exactly right. We're just a couple of guys in prevention trying to get some extra information,
Right.
So, but that's one of the things that we're going to try to implement. So that's probably something we'll do in the next couple of 2 or 3 weeks. So.
Well, and it's something, again, Governor Parson did sign an executive order, so there is some teeth to this as far as misrepresenting what something is to children in the packaging. And so we don't want any kid to take something unknowingly and then become, affected negatively to where they're ill. Maybe they get delusional, maybe they just pass out. Or maybe something worse, and we don't want anything like that to happen to youngsters because they mistakenly took an airhead or they mistakenly drank a lemonade or something of that nature. we just don't want anything like that to happen to our kids, and that's the key. And on this very first day of school, this is the day when everybody, most of the younger kids are all super, super, super happy to get back to school, and probably some of the upperclassmen, it's just time to get back to work.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's,
for all of us.
You see the same old, and in small towns, you usually see the same group that you've been growing up with, 8th, 7th, 6th, 7th, 8th, because you might be in different schools. You may not have that, but then that camaraderie all comes together 9th through 12th.
That's right.
And you're going to see a lot of the same faces in the same classes all the time. And it's good to get back and get that familiarity back into your life. And now you're going to get a structure again. School every single day. You got these classes every single day. And it really does help the kids to focus a little bit better, because I understand, hey, when I was a kid in the summertime, got up, go play ball, come back, do this. I didn't have to worry about anything.
Didn't have a
cut
bedtime.
the grass here and there now and then, but that would be about it. But, when you go back to school, you got to make sure you get there. You got to get this. Maybe you're involved in student council. You brought that up before. Sports, maybe a quiz bowl team, whatever it might be.
That's right. Yeah.
There are commitments to be made. So we hope our kids all continue to focus on those commitments rather than on something else.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited for the school year. We're looking at that survey. We've done a good job over the last couple of years, and there's still work to be done. So we're anxious to get out there and get going with it.
Well, Carlos, I want to thank you for coming and spending
Thanks
about
for having me.
55 minutes with us to talk a little bit about what the Dent County Prevention Coalition does. And again, they'll be meeting tomorrow. You'll be getting some updates and some more information, always getting new information on this, and preparing yourself for the upcoming school year. I know you and Jason will be making the rounds again.
Oh, yeah.
And getting out there. Some new students will be helping out in the presentations, and that's great.
Yes, sir.
I'd love to see that grow. And we look forward to talking with you again, where we might get some even better numbers in your next update.
That's the hopes, man. I did want to provide a website for that executive order, Parsons Executive Order 2410.
Go right ahead, sir.
It's www.sos.mo.gov. And then again, you could always do the whole Google search.
There you go.
Parsons Order 2410.
There you go. Carlos Lopez from the Dent County. Is it the Dent County Healthy Prevention Coalition?
It's
or
Healthy Dent County Prevention Coalition.
All right. So I always just knew it was Dent County Prevention Coalition. And then when you said healthy in there, I don't really remember that one. But anyway, that's okay. It's a great organization. And again, they do a lot of work with your youngsters, but they can do a lot of work with you. If you have any questions or need their information, can they give you a call?
Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely. Give us a call.
What's their number?
Their number.
Your number.
Oh, my cell phone number.
No. Your number. At the office, like 7298163?
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
I never call that number.
Well, you don't have to. You're there.
That's right.
All right. Or you can drop by 1200 West Strata Road.
That's right, 1200 West
And you
Strata
and
Road.
Jason are there in the office, and you can stop on by and visit. And if you have a need for them to make a special presentation, I guarantee you they will fit you in.
That's right, man. We would love to hear from you. We'd love to talk to you guys. Just let us know. Come on in, and we'll shake your hand and get to know you.
Thank you, my friend, for coming
sir.
in, spending some time with us and informing us. And again, today is the first day of school, and hopefully a lot of these kids who are excited today have learned from last year.
Yes, sir.
Get off to a good start this year and continue to make it even better. Carlos Lopez from the Healthy Dent County Prevention Coalition. Does that make you happy now, man?
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Here at KSMO Radio, we have AP News coming up. We have some